let me catch you up on what has been going on. As you know, I think it was about a month ago, maybe 3 or 4 weeks ago. The House passed a reform bill. That reform, maybe it was for longer ago than that, a reform bill called the USA Freedom Act, which basically limited the capacity or the authority of the U.S. to bulk collect information from phone companies and would instead allow that information to be housed at or under the supervision of the phone companies, and through a warrant process, the government could come in and check it, assuming that all of that actually would happen. As I read further into this, there is a sense that the government can more or less work around all of that anyways. So when we talk about the NSA, sort of is on vacation right now, it's not the case. There's multiple other ways of them skinning this cat in terms of the surveillance, and they're using it right now to the extent that even though people see this USA Freedom Act as weak tea, I'm talking about genuine reform activists, as weak tea, they would rather see that on some level than an expired Patriot Act, or at least these provisions of the Patriot Act, because there is then no sort of like guiding authority. That's my understanding. So the USA Freedom Act heads to the Senate. Mitch McConnell feels that USA Freedom Act limits the NSA's authority too much. And so what he wants to do is have that fail and have the Senate pass or reauthorize the original Patriot Act. He diddle dawdles. Rand Paul takes advantage of it. From everything I've read now, Rand Paul is getting too much credit, and perhaps we gave him too much credit, for stopping the Patriot Act. That was actually, many people are surmising, a sort of a game of chicken that Mitch McConnell was playing. Because now Mitch McConnell is trying to put amendments into the Freedom Act that would essentially make it as conducive to spying as the Patriot Act. Let's put it that way. To weaken the USA Freedom Act. And then the idea would be to send it back to the House, and the House would pass it quickly because they're building up this whole story about how we are unprotected right now. So this was, in many respects, a strategy by McConnell that has gone a little bit awry. Nevertheless, credit where credit's due in terms of Rand Paul, because we're talking about this. And we're talking about it, and it will continue to be something that will be discussed, I think. This, for Rand Paul, is an opportunity to get him back into the game because he was sort of left on the sidelines of this election. And, we're going to hear Ted Cruz talk about it. This is going to be an issue. It's going to be an issue, which is a positive. So, by all accounts, it is expected that we will see something pass the Senate in the next day or two, maybe tomorrow or today. It really is a function of how many amendments McConnell pushes and what the threshold is. These need 60 votes, these amendments and whatnot. If a bill comes out of the Senate that waters down the Freedom Act, you can expect it's going to go back to the House and they're going to pass it. So we're actually going to get weaker reform than the weak reform we were already going to get. But I'm hoping, we're going to hear from Bernie Sanders going to be talking about this. and we'll be hearing from it from the right. So at least it's in the conversation a little bit.